Yo, what is going on, guys? Today I've got you in at the top 10 for Pokemon Go, and today we're going to be looking at the top 10 rarest evolved Pokemon in Pokemon Go, whether that be contributing towards the starter evolution to evolve into a second evolution or a third evolution, or just finding it in the wild. But either way, these are the top 10 rarest Pokemon to evolve or find evolved or just overall evolved Pokemon in Pokemon Go. And like any other countdown list or top 10 or top 5, whatever you want to refer to that as, we have an honourable mention. So basically, this honourable mention is going to Gyarados. Now, Gyarados is a very, very rare Pokemon to actually find in the wild. I've only ever seen one on this picture on your guys' screen right now in a San Francisco pier, I believe. But also at the same time, it's a very, very big grind to actually get this from a Magikarp because it takes 400 Magikarp candy, and we all know how much of a pain in the ass that is. So since that being said, we actually, subconsciously think to actually get all this Magikarp candy very quickly because Magikarp is a common Pokemon, and once we get one Gyarados, I know a lot of my friends and me myself have done this, we don't really tend to go for any more. Like, I just leave Magikarp when I see them, when they've popped up right near me when I'm walking around on Pokemon Go, wherever I may be, because obviously I've got the teleport hack. So that's why it's in the honourable mention spot, because it's only a matter of time before you get Gyarados, and a lot of people want it. So to start things off in the number 10 spot, we have Ninetales. Now, Ninetales is the evolved form of Vulpix, and that being said, Vulpix in itself, the first stage evolution right here, is pretty darn hard to find. So imagine finding Ninetales in the wild. I've never seen it on anyone's nearby, and with that being said that it takes 50 Vulpix candy to actually evolve a Vulpix into a Ninetales, you can imagine the grind of actually trying to find Vulpix or getting them from 5k eggs in order to get the candy to be able to evolve it into Ninetales. And it's one of the most recent Pokemon I've got, and I'm only 5 of completing my Pokedex of what Pokemon you can catch in the game right now, obviously discluding Ditto and the legendaries. But besides that, it's still rare because out of the 145 you can obtain in the game, it's very hard and very rare to get Vulpix candy or find it in the wild. So getting into the number 9 spot, we have Golem. Now, Golem is a third stage evolution Pokemon, unlike Ninetales, which is only a second stage evolution, going Geodude, Graveler, and then finally Golem. So it takes 25 Geodude candy to evolve a Geodude into a Graveler, and then to get a Graveler all the way up to a Golem, it's 100 Geodude candy. So they aren't really exactly too rare, the first two stages of evolution being Geodude and Graveler to find in the wild, but Golem, I've only ever seen it once on my nearby, and like I said before, I've got 140 out of 145 catchable or obtainable in the entire game, excluding Ditto and the legendaries, and that's only one time I've seen it on the nearby. When I did not have it, I had to evolve a Geodude fully, and it's a pretty decent Golem right now. So the rarity difference between Geodude and Graveler and then Golem, like them two versus that one, is a very big difference. So that's why Golem's right here, because Geodude isn't exactly the most common Pokemon anyways in the first place, and I don't tend to find them in like a nest form where they just keep spawning. So that's why it's in the number 9 spot, Golem. Coming in at the number 8 spot, we have the Pokemon Raichu. Now, Raichu, if you guys don't know what this Pokemon is already in the game, we'll look at it and then compare the similarities to another Pokemon. That's right, it's the evolved form of Pikachu. So this in the original games actually requires a Thunderstone, I believe, to be evolved, but obviously in this game it's only 50 Pikachu candy. And when I say only, I don't say that very lightly, because honestly the only way I've been able to get a lot of Pikachu candy is hatching them from the 2k eggs, obviously because you get quite a bit of candy if you get lucky when you hatch one from an egg. And obviously if you have the disappointment of getting a Rattata or a Pidgey out of a 2k egg, you tend to not want to open them because you don't think you're going to get a starter Pokemon or Pikachu if you class that as a starter Pokemon. But overall, I've never seen this in the wild. I don't see it on too many gyms, so that's why it's a very kind of rare Pokemon overall out of the 145 you can get in the game right now in Pokemon Go. Raichu in the number 8 spot. So next in the number 7 spot, we have Machamp. Now, Machamp is a really, really cool third evolution looking Pokemon from the Pokemon Machop, going Machop, Machoke, and then Machamp. It takes 25 candy to go into a Machoke, and then 100 candy from Machoke to Machamp, and it's a very, very sought after Pokemon. A lot of people in the original games like this Pokemon because it's very powerful, obviously having that evolution 3 times stage kind of thing with it, and obviously because of that it gets a CP boost, a power boost, or whatever you want to call it in terms of its attack or damage when you actually evolve it 3 times. So in the original games, I believe you had to evolve a Machoke by actually trading it to another player, and then obviously if you wanted it back, trade it back. I mean, that would make sense, right? Just don't let someone have your hard worked for Machoke. And overall in Pokemon Go, Machops don't come around too often. There's not too many nests for them that I've actually found personally, and I've been to San Francisco, I've been anywhere because I can actually teleport to anywhere in the world, and I don't find too many Machops. So if you find Machops, you want to keep saving them up because you'll want this Pokemon for the Pokedex and overall to take them gyms. So that's why it's in the number 7 spot, Machamp. Creeping up to that midpoint position for this top 10, we have Dragonite. Now, Dragonite is everybody's wanted Pokemon in Pokemon Go. Right now, it's the high CP Pokemon possible to obtain, obviously because Mewtwo is high higher, and I believe Dragonite overall can go to 3500 CP, and for that reason everybody wants it. It's rare in the wild and it's hard to get a Dratini or enough Dratini candy to evolve it into a Dragonair and then a Dragonite. The main reason I'd say this Pokemon is actually rare in the first place is because of Dratini and the fact that I don't think there's many nests for it at all. It's just if you put a lure down, they tend to show up now and again, 1 or 2 in the space of the lure time maybe if you're very lucky, but overall if you're in San Francisco like I've got the hack to go and walk around there, a lot show up if you're walking around every single lure that's possibly down, which is basically anywhere on the freaking map of San Francisco's kind of radius or surface area or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of Dratinis there, but overall I've never seen a Dragonite in the wild apart from in my hometown, and it was a 1600 CP like you see on your guys' screen right now, me catching, and I got it in the first throw. I got very lucky, and as you can see there was a Rhydon next to it, but that was like 98 CP. But overall Dragonite, it's a very wanted Pokemon in the original games. It evolves at a very high level like 55 from a Dragonair, and everybody wants it because it's known for being one of the most powerful, so that's why it's in the number 6 spot, Dragonite. Breaking through the midpoint position and making this list now a top 5, in the number 5 spot we have Alakazam. Now, I've literally never ever seen an Alakazam on my nearby. I've caught Kadabras, I've caught Abras, and obviously they take the traits of what they do in the original games, where if you find an Abra, guess what, you're going to need to catch it in the first Pokeball or 2 because it's going to fledge straight away, which makes it very annoying to actually get enough candy to go into a Kadabra, which takes 25, and then also 100 from the Kadabra to go into freaking Alakazam. On a side note as well, I think Abra has the highest fled rate for a Pokemon in the game of Pokemon Go right now, because there's not too many, and then down from that I'd say the starter Pokemon, Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and even Pikachu have quite a high fled rate, but even so, Abra's pretty rare at the same time, I'd say, if not a little bit less rare than the starter Pokemon, and it fleds pretty much at every chance it gets, so that's why it's kind of in this spot, because it's a really weird Pokemon to get in the first place. You don't get too many with high CP, and then obviously people don't want to evolve it if it's not high CP because they want a good Alakazam in the first place and they don't want to waste their candy just for their Pokedex, so that's why it's in the number 5 spot, Alakazam. In the number 4 spot we have Omastar. Now Omastar is an ultra rare Pokemon to actually find in the wild. I've only ever seen one on the water shore of Santa Monica Pier. As you guys can see on your guys' screen, there's a screenshot of me capturing it, and if you're wondering, well, oh, is this your screenshot and isn't it anyone else's because you don't have any footage to prove that you actually went and caught it with your friend the machine account on Pokemon Go, well actually Airshoe didn't really work, and then it despawned when I actually went off the app for too long on the Pokemon Go spin-off teleportation device thing that I actually have on my phone to actually go to Santa Monica Pier, so that explains that. But in itself, I mean, Omastar is a very rare Pokemon. I don't think anybody without this hack is like near Santa Monica Pier, or if anything in the waters quite far out in Santa Monica Pier to actually get this Omastar that actually spawned. I'm guessing a few spawn there, not too often, but I mean if it's spawned there it's more likely to spawn near there again. So Omanite in itself has a nest on Santa Monica Pier, but it's very rare to actually get a consistent spawn of them, and there is a few locations that I'll make a video on for you guys how to get easy Omanites, and it kind of ties in this spot with the next spot, which is the number 3 spot, Kabutops. Now Kabutops, the reason it's above Omanite and Omastar in this list, the evolved form obviously Omastar, is because Kabuto actually has the same nest area, Santa Monica Pier, as Omanite, but I find them a lot rarer. I actually got this on the Pokedex after Omastar, and in itself Kabutops don't actually spawn here, so in itself that would be rarer than actual Omastar in the number 4 spot, because obviously it's not even spawning the evolved form of Kabuto. But yet again, there is a chance where you can get the evolved form of Omanite, Omastar, in this area, which makes Kabutops a lot rarer and a lot more badass looking, to be honest. I'd rather have Kabutops than an Omastar, obviously, on my team battle in a gym, or just placed on a gym overall. So that's why Kabutops is also kind of tied in with the number 4 spot, but in the number 3 spot, taking it by a storm, obviously, Kabutops in the number 3 spot. Hopefully you guys understand my reasons for those placements. I've literally only just listened to that back right now when editing this all together, and I've been like, what the fuck was I actually saying? What the fuck did I mean? But I obviously came to grips with it, and I'm hoping you guys did too. But with that being said, in the number 2 spot, we have Muk. Now, Muk is a ginormous Pokemon. I don't know how big it is on the map when you actually go to click on it when it appears on your nearby and it comes up for you to be able to catch or get into a catchable battle kind of thing, because obviously you can't attack it. You can only throw raspberries and stuff, not rocks like you could in the original games in the Safari Zone, and then obviously throw Pokeballs, Ultra Balls, or Great Balls at it in order to be able to make it yours. Obtain it on the Pokedex is something you've actually seen in order for the progression of your Pokedex being filled to go up, and this was my very last Pokemon out of the 145 5 obtainable in Pokemon Go right now on my Pokedex that I actually obtained. So Muck is a very rare Pokemon in the wild. I've only ever seen the shadow of it on my nearby when I didn't have it before in my hometown once, but Grimer in itself, it's a very big Pokemon on the map, so I dread to think how much area of sludge Muck takes up. And with that being said as well, they're two big Pokemon, but they're two very rare Pokemon in themselves. The pre-evolved version of Muck, which is Grimer like I mentioned just previously right then, is a rare Pokemon. I mean, I haven't found a nest for these, like a set designated area where they will spawn now and again, or quite often, or every 5, 10, 15 minutes or so. And with that being said, there is no consistent nest that I've found yet. That's why it comes above Omastar, Kabutops, everything else mentioned in this list, because it's just ultra rare to actually get in itself, to be honest. I've had to Pokesnipe Grimers out, and even on the Pokesnipe app, which I've made videos on of how you can get any Pokemon in less than a minute, Muck has never shown up. And I'm guessing, like you guys know, that things like Charizards pop up like every couple of seconds or so, Venusaurs, and locations where they actually are for you to be able to catch when you can teleport. So Muck has never shown up for me, and that's why it's a bummer to get, to be honest, because it's a very rare Pokemon, very big Pokemon. It can be a very good Pokemon, even better than Charizard in CP, but obviously it's not very common, so that's why it's in the number 2 spot, Muck. So taking that number 1 spot, which is the rarest Pokemon or set of Pokemon that I'm actually going to tell you guys right now in Pokemon Go that is evolved Pokemon, is the starters fully evolved. So Blastoise, Venusaur, Charizard, whatever you want to class this as, all 3 of them all together, or just one of these that you actually find hard to get. I believe these are the rarest evolved Pokemon in the game, because I don't find any consistentness of where they will spawn and you know to go there, so they actually will spawn at a certain time or a certain amount of time from when the last one spawned. And with that being said, you need an awful lot of candy to get all 3 of these if you're classing the rarity upon all 3 of these like I previously mentioned. But even if so, it takes 125 candy from a little Bulbasaur to get a Venusaur, and obviously vice versa with the other starter Pokemon like Squirtle and Charmander. And to add to the rarity of these being fully evolved, I never really find the second stage evolutions anywhere, and if I do, I tend to catch them, which are Charmeleon, Ivysaur and Wartortle, because, I mean, you want all the Pokemon, so you need each stage evolution, so you need a Charmander, a Charmeleon and a Charizard, and vice versa for Bulbasaur and Squirtle as well, obviously having 2 of the stages of evolution after them being the starter Pokemon. And if that is the case, right, if they're actually rare, the second stage evolutions, then imagine how rare to actually get legit in a normal area without a hack these Pokemon fully evolved would be, like a Charizard to find, or a Venusaur to find, or a Blastoise to find. I've only found them because of Pokesniper, apart from the Blastoise, which was near my house, but I also walked on an app where I could actually tap to walk, and it was only just a little bit out from my area. So basically that's why they're in the number 1 spot, because overall, if you count these as a set of starters that are actually rare to evolve and have a set of to complete your Pokedex, you will need not 1, not 200, but 375 total starter candy, obviously being 125 for the 3 each. So if you times that by 325, guess what, you can actually pass 4th grade maths. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and if you guys want to see more top 10s on the channel, be sure to let me know, whatever that may be, and slap a like on the video down below if you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.